Good day, strategy gamers. Welcome back to our Let's Play series of War in the East 2. This is the Stalingrad to Berlin campaign, and you are tuning in for episode 4 of our playthrough as the Soviets attempting to push back the German invasion of our motherland. And currently, we are in December of 1942. In our last couple of turns, we've seen a lot of advances and movement on the front lines. We've had these three strategic objectives of trying to cut off the supply by moving east-west to Riga of the army group north that is assaulting Leningrad, and currently we're defending Leningrad. There was a secondary strategic objective we set for ourselves of trying to cut behind the salient the Germans had and taking away their supply from Smolensk. And then we also had the objective of following a bit of a historical path, encircling Stalingrad and the army group that was assaulting the city, and pushing down to Rostov and Odessa to try to cut off not only Crimea, but the push towards the Caucasus mountains here. So that's been going pretty well. Last turn we were able to encircle the Germans at Stalingrad. The Germans had begun pulling back out of this pocket, which originally was their drive to Moscow. And they've actually been a little aggressive up here in the north near Stalingrad, so we're going to have to deal with that a little. To begin the turn, just to recap here, you see our losses from last turn, order of battle changes, and logistics. We actually saw a slight improvement for the number of units that are in low supply, so I'm encouraged by that. But we do have 7 units that are isolated. We're in the air planning phase currently, and I think what we want to do is check to see what the weather is like, because as we're in the winter in Russia, weather's going to play an important role in what we're able to do with our Air Force. And if you remember, the game simulates weather on the ground and weather in the air. And we see that in the air, it is blizzard. It is a huge blizzard just across pretty much everything that would be our front lines. And where it is not, it is at the very least snowing. Right? You see this kind of white here up by Leningrad and Riga and such. So all across the board, I don't really think we're going to have an option to have a heavy air campaign. For the ground forces, when we get there, right, we see that if there's a blizzard in the air, as we would expect, we see in some areas very heavy snow, and in others snow, and spotted light snow in some parts. So given that, I think what we're going to go and do is, in each of our air armies, I actually think we might just tell them to rest. So we're going to go through and do that with each of our air armies. So we don't want them running any type of missions. A bit of a bug there on that one, I think. Not sure why it's not changing. We might have to come back to that. Here we go. I'm going to go through and just keep doing this for everyone. What we'll have to make sure we do is actually change all of this for our next turn. You see, for a lot of these, right, they actually... Oh, which one's second air army? It's actually even low on supply. And if you recall from episode 2 and episode 3, we suffered heavy air losses, and that was actually something that was of great concern to me. I think we probably could have just done this total air command, and that might have taken care of things. And continue going down, 4th Air Army. Rest. See, they were having some supply questions as well. Rest. Okay, so that's taken care of now. And given that, then we're not going to run any specific air missions. I can't figure out why it won't let me do anything there. Okay, so let's do this. We're going to go here and just get into this menu that I'm familiar with, 6 Army, and we're just going to delete the air directives it has. So even if we can't get it to rest, we're at the very least going to delete the air directives that were assigned to it. Maybe now it would let us, I don't know. Nope, still doesn't. That's curious. And that's going to make a pretty short air turn, so we're going to go ahead and execute the air directives, which again, I'm hoping that that was done successfully and we're not actually going to run any air missions. I want to say too that I think I'm going to take each turn and do 2 episodes, each of them hopefully a little bit less than an hour. I have found that as I've continued to add new things that we do in each turn, the length of each turn is far surpassing just 1 hour. Our last episode was actually pretty close to 2 hours. So we're going to end up doing 2 shorter episodes for every turn of the game, because we have a lot more features and mechanics to continue adding to our turns that is only going to extend how long they last. So it looks like, as expected, we did not run any sorties given a blizzard. That's good news. And then it also means we had no losses. So I'm very happy with that. Now we're in the ground turn. What we're going to do is just, because I'm paranoid, I don't want to forget, we're going to let the AI manage the depots. What we're going to do is work north to south, just like we have done in the past, to make sure that we're looking for areas of opportunity to counterattack or to push the front line. Again, given the weather, it is going to make it difficult to have very successful attacks. So in a lot of cases, unless we have a great advantage, we're not going to be too aggressive. And what you see here is that last turn, the Germans actually engaged us up here in Leningrad. We actually lost after 2 attacks, and this unit ended up retreating, or routing, excuse me. So the very first attack, we had the 86th Rifle Division defending and the 16th Fortified group, and we also had air units engaged. And we held. We lost 5 armored fighting vehicles, a couple of aircraft, 100 men, they lost 200. But then they attacked again. And this time, our fortified region units actually surrendered, and the Rifle Division routed, which is just not good news for us. And we lost quite a few men as well. So I'm not sure what happened that just caused that complete change compared to the first attack. My best guess is I think they actually added an additional group attacking us here. They increased how much they were attacking with. You can actually check that. Yes, you see their infantry numbers quite a bit higher. And they had over 100 more guns attacking. We also had a battle here where we actually successfully defended the front line. And then down here we had another battle where our units retreated and one surrendered on the front line again with some pretty heavy casualties. So the Germans have had some successes up here, which I'm a little off-put by. I don't like it that much. So we got knocked out of this hex here, but they weren't able to advance into it, probably due to a lack of movement points. The concern is if they fill that gap, then they're going to have this hex, which also represents Leningrad, I believe, pretty much on almost all sides surrounded, which becomes very problematic. So what I'm tempted to actually do is to take these units, and it doesn't look like we're going to be able to. I was thinking to maybe withdraw them. Okay, so we could withdraw the 2nd Rifle Corps, but it's not going to let us withdraw that fort unit. honestly, I think I'm going to withdraw this rifle corps. Because I don't envision this hex lasting an attack from the 73rd Infantry, 18th Motorized, 255th Infantry, Luftwaffe Field Division, 93rd Infantry, and the 20th Motorized. That is a lot that would be coming down on this one hex, and again, it's from all sides. We also have this unit here, where we may be able to start spreading a little bit, where we're going to move the 45th Guards here. We're going to move 2nd Rifle Corps here. This comes down. And then we're going to take, I think we want to do the 46th Rifle Division, which we have here, and plug that hole that we just vacated. And they have 2 infantry divisions here. But again, this just kind of is trying to make the situation a little better. And again, if they're going to attack any of these hexes, they're attacking across a river. Here, they're not attacking across a river. So I think we're just going to kind of forfeit this hex and hope that in the next 3 turns, we can make some progress offensively on this side of the front. With that being said, I think we might have an opportunity to move these units up and across the river here before they reinforce this. So we're going to move here. We're going to move those units up where we can. And again, that's just trying to take advantage of the situation. So then, if this unit attacks the 311th, they're attacking across a river, and we get to be the defenders. Whereas previously, they could have moved in here and attacked without having to cross a river, which would have been unfortunate. I don't see anywhere else on the front line where we have some nice big advantage to be able to attack with. So we're probably going to leave this as is. And down here is where we suffered that loss. So I think I'm going to move up the 65th Rifle Division, which was kind of sitting in the back, and we're going to use this to try to reinforce this hex. We don't have enough to do a successful counterattack, but at the very least we increase our defenses. And then we're going to take this 377th Rifle Division. I'm also going to move this up here. Again, just trying to strengthen a little bit here, the south of our front. Right here, I worry just a little bit, because I think this is the weakest area of the front. They're not too strong here, so we may be okay. I just actually noticed that that hex is empty, but we don't have enough movement points to get there with any of our units. But what this is going to do now is, because we move down, it's now going to force them to split either a division off here or a division off here, which then will make it easier to counterattack. Continuing further south down the line, let's see here. So looking at this little pocket, originally they were a little bit more spread out and they had pushed, and then they started to collapse back to exit so they didn't get cut off. And it actually looks like they maybe have given us an opportunity to try to again hit this hex and try to cut off these units from supply. Because when we look at everything that we have here, I do wonder, it's kind of 1-to-1 odds. And I know I began just about 10 minutes ago saying, you know what guys, we're going to be conservative, the weather's bad, etc., etc., etc. It just seems like such an opportunity that if we can cut off those forces, I mean, we're talking 9 divisions that would then be cut off, 8 divisions that'd be cut off from their front lines, and they would have to fight through without any source of supply other than maybe airdrops, but then they're going to be taking heavy casualties from our air units as well. So it seems like we might have an opportunity here. What I'm going to do is say, you know, are there any units that we can instead pull up that maybe would be a little better in attack? So So if we take this one, which is a little low on supply, and if we were just to move it back 1 hex, and then if we were to move up this 202nd Rifle Division, now when we look at the math, that improves our odds even more. And can we do something similar here? Moving up this unit and saying, okay, now we're going to attack from all of these. The odds are still pretty similar. We have, don't believe we have any armor or anything of any kind that could make its way around. Just out of curiosity, can we break through here? No, we can't. I don't think that we have any better odds going here, because that's a pretty high defensive value. Yeah, it is. So, caution to the wind. Let's try it. We're going to take all of these units, we're going to do a deliberate attack. We have a slight advantage, ever so slight. Fort level 4, so they certainly have a defender's advantage. We're going to give it a try. They retreated. Holy crap, guys, we did it. Look at this. We did it. That's incredible. What do we have that can move up there now? We have to take from over here. Surely I have a unit that can make it there, right? Let's take one of these and actually withdraw it from the front line. Maybe the artillery division. So we're going to take you. I'm going to go here. Can I really not make it there? It won't let us. We just don't have enough movement to get there. It's the highest movement we have. It's this rifle division. It's also unable to get there. So let's pull back to a second. We don't have enough movement points to pull back to a second. Move back to 254th. We're at least going to pull up the stronger unit. And at the very least now we have zone of control here. So we're not going to have a division actually blocking off that hex. But it's going to cost them now to actually get through. And let's look at some of the battle results because we just got a quick glance there. Killed 600 to 343. We lost aircraft. And we lost 12 armored fighting vehicles. Let's see what those were. Recon, 7 KV-1s. Oh no. That's not good. Alright. Air losses, what did we have? And almost all of the losses were operational. My goodness, look at that. I thought we had gotten rid of the directives, but what we're going to do is just to clarify, so we're going to toggle ground support off. Actually looks like it was already off. I'm not entirely sure then why we got ground support. Okay. There's not too much else that I want to do here with these units. So we're going to continue down further down the line. And if you remember, what we've done is we've actually moved the 39th Army, and then we have here the 31st Army. We're moving both of them to try to plug these gaps. The 31st Army is going to go right here, and then the 39th Army is going to fill in this hole. And then we have this, is this the 3rd Shock Army? No, the 53rd Army is going to go right here. So let's start moving up the 53rd Army. Move that unit there. This 3rd Shock Army needs to come down south. This unit. Move them there. So we're starting to build kind of this front line, right? 3rd Shock Army, so you're going to come down here. I'd actually put you to reinforce this hex a little. more 3rd Shock Army. Have you come here. Oh, can you make it there to reinforce them? I don't think we can. It's too far. We can move up the 8th Rifle Corps. We're going to leave you a little bit in reserve to try to build back up combat prep points. We're going to leave you there off the front line. And then we have the 53rd Army again here. Move up, please. What happens here? If we take all of our units 1-to-1, not doing it. We're also going to move up our HQ just a little closer. Alright, good stuff there. You see, here's where we have our supply issues. And I think a big part of this is that we've been using these rail lines to move these units. And this rail line, we don't quite yet have full control of it. That should be resolved after next turn. We might have to repair a rail or two. So let's now start looking at these forces that are currently on the rail line. And we're going to start moving these up. So again, our intent was to kind of fill this gap here. So, you know, I'm going to have you go up to hold this line for now. And then we're going to have the 39th Army come up behind you. So you can go there, there. This is the 3rd Shock Army. 39th Army is here. Move you up. That's the 3rd Air Army. 39th Army HQ we're going to put here. And here we have Kalin in front, which we're going to leave there. More 39th Army units. You would move you there. You're going to be kind of north of this front. You down. We'll come up behind there. Okay. So now the 39th Army is kind of sitting in the rear of the front line. And next turn, hopefully, it'll have enough preparation points and movement points to then move up. And what we'll do is we'll move down the 3rd Shock Army a couple of hexes. So then we can be more focused with the 3rd Shock Army. Because right now we have a bit of an issue here. This is a problem. So we are going to move this HQ unit to be a little bit more protected here. We're going to move the 3rd Shock Army up here to avoid these armor from disrupting them. Do the same down here. We're just consolidating a little of those units. And the simple truth is I just don't have enough supply to counter these motorized and panzer divisions that have broken through in this pocket. So this is just simply as things are, it has to stay this way. They might encircle these units, and in which case we'll have to start looking at a bit of a counterattack to break out. But I'm hopeful that when we shift down these 3rd Shock Army units, that will then give us enough reinforcements. And they'll be replaced by the 39th. And we'll have the 53rd sitting here. Now let's take the 31st, move them up. Although here is an interesting proposition. Let's just look at this for a moment. If we go rail movement mode, how far down can we get these guys? And then could we potentially then next turn have them in a position to counter that armor? I'm not going to do that the more I think about it, because I don't want to use this railroad for unit movement more than supplies, because at the moment the reason we can't do an effective counterattack is because these units are out of supply. So we're just going to move as best we can these units up here. Here I think we have to use the railroad because the rest of the 31st Army is just too far back. Just going to move it up to here. We're going to disembark from the rail. Same thing here. I hope this leaves us enough to disembark. It does. Good. Move you up. Just enough there to get off. Good. Rail unit again. Let's see. Might actually go just one more down. You're going to disembark there. They'll go here. You're all the way up there. So we're going to do rail. Move you down. And here. Again, hopefully you have enough. Oh no, you don't have enough. You don't have enough to unload you. Shoot. So that's probably going to hurt our supply situation again. Darn it. I probably should look to see if I could have taken this village. Okay. So that deals with this whole area, this front. Again, we just aren't in a position to try to counterattack these armors. We're going to have to let them be. It's a threat, but we don't have too many choices. Now, over here we get to start to have a lot more fun, though. So the first objective is we have, in this city, this unit cut off from supply and pretty much surrounded. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one of these two units and we're going to use it to just move and cut off this hex. And then we're going to take all of these units here. Did that just a little wrong. Select just you. Oh my gosh. That's actually not that great a mod. So I'm going to let you all sit there for another turn then. Because I can't afford those types of losses. We are going to attack here. They held. Looks like they held. Okay. And we just don't have enough to do it again. So if we move you here. If we did it again. No. I'm going to move this unit up there. We're going to come here with this rifle division. And we're just going to try to cut these guys off a little. Move you down there. I'm going to move you here because, again, I want to make sure I secure this rail line going all the way through. Right, because now this can be an additional rail line of support to resupply our units over here. move down these guys. Here we have some armor, and I wonder how far behind these units can we get. Maybe we can begin a bit of an encirclement. So you're going to go all the way back here. You will come down here and fill in this little hole. You are on a little bit of low supply, so I'm not going to be too aggressive with you, but I will move you up here. And here we have a mechanized group. We're going to move this way. Again, we're just building a bit of a line here, and then with these eastern units, we'll actually try to cut them off from this side. Let's see though. I'm wondering if we attack here, because it appears this motorized division is in low supply, so we might have a bit of an advantage if we go for this. I think we're going to give it a try. This is pretty good odds. Okay, we routed them. Good. Did I toggle that the wrong way? Okay, ground support's off. I didn't see that little indicator up there that tells you, because I wasn't sure if it's enabled or off, but now it's off. So now we're not going to have any more ground support. So we're going to move this unit up here to fill that hole. Now, let's try to cut off these units from this side. So we're going to move you here. This is an artillery division. We don't want to move that necessarily to the front. We're going to bring that unit up. Again, that's the artillery division. Bring this here. Now we need to find a way to cut off this hex too. I'm sure we'll get something here. It looks like this tank corps we can move up there. Alright, so that at the very least cuts that line, and they're going to have to try to break through. So look at this. We now have... this is a total of 6 units the Germans have that we have completely encircled in pockets. It's like the Soviets learned something in the summer of 1941 of how to execute these maneuvers, and they've gotten pretty good at it, huh? And we're going to move this unit to kind of be our southern frontier of this line. Now what we can do is we can take this 5th Army. We're going to move the 5th Army down to form here. Move you there. Take you down there as well. I wonder if I can get behind that guy. There. This armor is actually part of the 20th Army. The 20th Army is starting to get a little spread out there. So I think I might take these and actually just reinforce this tank corps. So that way they don't get too outnumbered between these two forces. And then we keep this 20th Army a little bit more consolidated. So we're going to keep moving the 5th Army down. So we're going to move you there. Oh shoot, you're not the 5th. You are the 5th Army. The 5th Army is not what I wanted to move there. The 29th Army is. Okay, so the 29th Army here. I'm going to move you here. And then this HQ can move up. Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. This HQ will move up. 29th Army, 3rd Guard. So we'll take you here. Okay. Now, with the 33rd, I'm going to try to get behind you just a little. Okay, so we're making some good progress here. And good. You can get behind a little bit. Can you do the same over here? I really need a unit to get into that hex right there. What can get me there? And take all my movement, but we're going to do it because that's going to be worth it to encircle this unit. We're just going to strengthen that line a little bit. Bring you around to also strengthen there. You can come down here. Good. Good. Look at this. Looks like we might have some units over here ready to go. 10th Tank Corps. Look at that. That's part of the 33rd Army. Let's move you down here. We'll shift all these other units south just a little. Yeah, so you can come here. And then you, part of the 49th Army, can move down. You can move down. You can move down south. Excellent. You move up here. Again, this is 33rd Army. We're going to have you move up here. We have another 33rd Army unit. You can reinforce that hex. The 33rd Army HQ is way back here for some reason. So we're going to move you up. You're just part of the Western Front. You're not necessarily part of any of these HQs. So this tank corps, I actually think we're going to move down here and assign to one of these units. You come down there. Good. You're part of the 33rd Army for some reason, so you're going to come up north. We're getting things situated now. We're getting things situated. I'm going to have you assigned to the nearest unit. So you're part of the 49th Army now. So the 49th Army can kind of hold this line here. And the 50th Army. See, that's the 49th. We're going to intermix a little here. We're going to take these units. We're just going to crush that one. Captured that depot. Good news. Good win. Good. So you can come up. And you can now occupy that town. Wonder if we can... We don't have enough to attack this unit, so we're going to move some of these guys up. Move you up. Now let's see how it looks. It's just not good enough odds for the current situation. If we attack there, it's more than 3 to 1. Retreat it. Good. Push them back. That's good news. You can probably come up and reinforce, I think, the front line. I'm going to have you do that here. Because that unit's not going to last too long. With both the 50th and 49th Army kind of present there. Everything's a little too strong to go after here, so we're going to keep moving down the line for other areas of opportunity. Did we? Actually, let me look. I should have skipped over this. Yeah. See, look, we have forgotten an entire army here, the 5th Army. So the question is, what do we do with the 5th Army? It's not terribly large. We have a total of, this is 3, 4, 5 divisions and an artillery division. So that's not a very large army. This entire front is starting to feel really crowded. So I wonder if we can't take a rail movement, these units. First, let's try to capture that there. And then if we go to a rail movement, is this not on a rail line? hexes there. Oh, it's a damaged rail line. Okay, so that might explain it. So can you get on a rail line? No? Is it damaged there too? Doesn't say. Maybe it's because we just took it this turn. Get the hexes back. Go to rail. Okay. Okay, so you could get on the rail. But here... I think this is just because we just took this hex this turn, and I think this is because there is rail damage. We're not able to actually use this here. So what we're going to do is we're going to move these units north to this rail line, and then when we get all of this taken care of and repaired, we're going to move these on a rail line to reinforce this sector. Or maybe we don't even use the rail. Maybe we just do regular movement. I think we might do that. We're going to do regular movement all the way over there. We're just going to kind of pace ourselves. And this, we're currently in kind of a zone of control here because those units exist. So we're going to move these as best we can here. So we're going to move the 5th Army up and over to this little breakout pocket that the Germans have started. And then with any luck, by the next turn or two, all of this will be cleared out. And we'll be able to make good progress on our way to our objective. So that's the 5th Army moving over here. That's all part of the Western Front, which I think that's all going to be okay. This is these units. Yeah, do I need to do a... Yeah, this is the Northwestern Front. This is the Lenin Front. I mean, need to take a look at some of these HQs and see where they're all assigned. So this is, again, the Lenin Front. Okay. Well, once we get it moved over there, that'll be a problem we'll have to solve, which is fine. What I'm happy about here is that we have, again, seven German units completely encircled. That's a pretty big win, if you ask me. Worried about the supply situation over here, but here it's been nothing but success. We're going to continue on down the map and down our front line to look for other areas. Here it's all pretty well fortified by the Germans, and we're not going to do any big push again, right? Thinking about it from a strategic level, we have no need to push on to Kursk. What we do need is our forces here, here, and up here to be more aggressive. So along the line, I'm not seeing any areas of opportunity where we can really make a notable impact. Maybe here, when I see, but it's probably not going to be worth it. Down here, I do wonder, like, it's getting like this crossroads, excuse me, would be pretty nice. I wonder if we don't take this rifle division. It's probably going to exhaust itself too much by the time we get there. And there's just no combat preparation points available to these guys to really be that meaningful, so we're going to leave them there. Down here we got some pretty weak defensive values for some of these units. So can we break through here perhaps, or here, which would be more valuable. So there's the river there, and we're not going to really have too measurable an impact between the two. This is security division, this is a Jaeger division. We're going to go ahead and attack the Jaeger division. Alright, so they've retreated. That's a pretty good win. 50 losses, 1 gun. Good news there. Don't think we have enough. Yeah, not enough to make an attack there. If we take these 2 units, just not quite enough of an advantage for us. That's fine. Here, I doubt that's enough either. It's just 2 to 1. We're not going to go for it. there it would be similar. Here we might have a bit of an opportunity, so let's look here. There is a river dividing these forces. I wonder if the river is frozen and how well we can tell if that's true. So it looks like it's wet and snowy, but I don't see anything about ice. So if we just attack there, that's a pretty big and easy win. But it might be more valuable to attack here. So let's do that. Alright, so that mountain division retreated. We lost 4 tanks, though. It's not ideal. And then if we did something similar, could we get a win here? That's 3-1. They also retreated. Okay, good news. Could we do something similar here? 3-1, we'll do it. They routed. Excellent. Excellent news. So we've pushed back a number of units here, which should help us. And then if it makes it more difficult then for them to establish a front line, maybe then that means we can break through to Castronoe and cut off some of the supply, making it here to this line. So that's something for us to look at and think about. These units we can actually move up. I think they had retreated, and that's why we find ourselves in that position. I think we might take these, just try to get a good win here. And they retreated. Looks like a good win for us. Good. Let's see down here. Probably don't have enough strength to push through necessarily. This unit. So I do wonder. Let's move this unit here. Thought it might be worth. Maybe worth trying to push down on this road to separate the two forces, but it doesn't look like that's actually going to work for me. Might have an opportunity by moving these units up here. What does that battle look like? Not good enough odds for me, so we're going to skip that. Here, I think we have decent chances and stuff. And there's an air base right here, and there's a bit of a city here, Nova Kotov. And these guys are in low supply. I think I might try to inflict the heavier damage by going for them. That's not even 2-1. So let's push for this field division. They held. That's a little surprising. Okay, very well. What can we do here? That looks like a pretty good win. They retreat it. Good news. And can we get a win here? Let's do it. Let's do it. They retreat it. Okay, good. We have some armor here, so I really wanted to try to be a little aggressive. And push this unit back. They were routed. Excellent news. Looks like Panzer Division is in bad supply. So hopefully we can take advantage of that next turn. It looks like they might have been retreating a little here. It's just 2-1, so we're going to leave that be. Maybe we can with these two units now. Get better odds. Nope. Move these up. Okay. Now we get to the Stalingrad front, but this is actually where we're going to call the episode to a close. And when we get to episode 5, we're going to focus on finishing out the turn here around Stalingrad, and then what work needs to be done around Krasnodar and Grozny. So until then, just want to say thank you for watching. Hope you've been enjoying the series. Please like, subscribe, and in the comments section, ask any questions you may have about the game. And even if I don't have an immediate answer, I'll certainly try to get you some advice or answers that will help you along in your own adventure with War in the East 2. Have yourselves a great day, strategy gamers.